Hello, everyone. I hope this video finds you doing well. One of the things that I am going to be talking about, as you can tell by the title, it is going to be miracles. And I have had them, sincerely have had them in my life. I've had a rabbi to pray, to put his hand on my shoulder, um, right where I had surgery. And God just lifted the pain from my knees and from my lower back when the rabbi, after the 3 minutes after the rabbi prayed for me. It wasn't the rabbi, but God definitely used the rabbi as a as a vessel. The person he did it through, I'll go ahead and say his name because I think I've talked about it on Facebook, but it was Rabbi Bill, one of the greatest guys you could ever want to meet. And every time I get behind written Torah that we're doing the infinity sign with it, I get behind written Torah and I've had the pain lift from my knees and lower back in ways I never thought possible. And it's humbling. No doubt about it. It's very, very humbling. Want to tell you guys about a very recent miracle. And then I'll go into some other explanations of why I think why. I'll only name like one or two. There's one that I'm keeping secret. That's between God and me. Tuesday morning on November 1st of 2022, I woke up to my bed to the crones trying to flare. And then I got in the mirror and I was just doing my kind of normal thing, brushing my hair, putting the soft balm in my beard. And then I looked into my eyes, my left eye specifically, and it was bloodshot red. There was some white there, but you could tell it was going bloodshot red. Well, I was like, oh God, please help me. And I'm part of a men's group that if we call out for prayer for each other, we're there. We pray for each other. And I sent a message to the men's group and they did. I have very little doubts they prayed for me. Normally when my eyes go bloodshot red or very close to it, normally takes about a week or two to get rid of the redness. And I was like, oh God, please help me. And I'm sure they, like I said, people in the men's group, I have steroids that I have to put in my eyes every time that happens. And one wonderful eye doctor told me, he said, always keep this around in case you need it. Don't never throw it away. And he's right. This little stuff costs us about $100 a bottle. And so I've always done that. I was like, well, I got to get that bottle. And I did. But took it work with me. About every hour, I did put eye drops, and about an hour or two, I don't know how long, I could be wrong about that, but there was a time when I sent out a message to a praise report to the men and let them know that it was getting better. Thank God. To God be the glory. Then I did something miraculously ridiculous. I had to leave work to get home so I could get to bed. I was sick. By the time I left work, it was like I was feeling better than what I was, but I wasn't well. So then I called up Shelly, um, and we talked for a little bit. And we talked. I just almost fell asleep, and then we got off the phone, and I went right to sleep. Now remember, like I said, I left my eye drops at work. Um, so what happens? I was expecting the worst possible pain and my eyes be bloodshot red, but they weren't. I woke up to some light, dark redness. You could tell that, my eyes had been affected, but it wasn't like on this massive bloodshot red deal. It was more on the deal of just, hey, I kind of was waking up and I felt my had a little pain in it. I looked in the mirror. Yeah, it's kind of a dry hurting thing, not really bad. Looked in the mirror, like I said, it was light dark, and I thought, God, well, I can't blame God for this. I kind of deserve it. And I said, God, if you could just please, help me here. And this was this morning on November 2nd. Well, kind of conducting my day, I was expecting it to get worse. And when I got to work, my eye actually looked a lot better. So I put an eye drop in it. It burnt like normal. Not a big deal, you know. Then a couple of hours later, what do I decide to do? I'll just put another drop in. That was like putting cold water on my eye. My eye was healed. Now, the way it is tonight, I'm going to have to put in another drop. But why am I bringing this up? I guess would be a good question to ask. Because normally, with my eye being bloodshot red, yeah, that's a pretty good possibility that that's going to last about 2 or 3 weeks. Week if I'm extremely lucky, but well, yeah, about a week, anywhere between a week to 3 weeks. And I'm going to have some real problems here. That wasn't the case. Even the light darkness is guaranteed another week of we're going to have to do eye drops, and boy, this is going to be a lot of fun. But it wasn't. God has made himself known in the healing of my left eye. And like I said, it's all the glory to him. So the reason is I have to ask myself, why me, Lord? What have I done to deserve all this? And if the truth really be known, I haven't done much. You know, but I have to also would say that if you want God working in your life, glorify God. Glorify God by asking for forgiveness from the living Torah, who is Christ, who I know as Yeshua. Live by the written Torah. And because written Torah always is about glorifying God by loving people as much as you love yourself. And always glorify God in everything. Give him thanks. That is definitely true. And one of the reasons that it's humbling, it's like I said, why me? Is because if you want a doubting Thomas, I'm it. And you know, it's almost like God and I's got this competition going. How much longer can I be doubting? Can God get me to the place to where there is no more doubt? I have to be honest with you. I have to humbly say that he's winning. I'm just about to throw up all my doubt in the air and say, forget it. Whatever God wants, he gets. You know, doesn't matter how much I doubt or anything else. It's all glory be to God, his will, not mine. So, I feel bad when I see these faith healers. Oh, come to my service, give a $50 seed. Got to work in your life. That's just it's a bunch of stuff. God's worked in my life when I prayed to him. God's worked in my life when other people have prayed for me. Because I can guarantee you, I've had a lot of people pray for me. And back in my younger years, I can tell you, I heard God say no a lot. Boy, did he ever say no a lot. It's like, well, he ain't saying no anymore. And my biggest fear is that I would grow to expect God to do a miracle for me. And God doesn't owe me anything. But it is sincerely, you know, I do these videos because I want you to also have a blessed life. I want you to have your best life. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect life. It doesn't mean that you're going to love everything that happens. But what it does mean is that you come to Yeshua, ask him to forgive you of your unholiness and your sinful ways and your abominations. And please turn away from God, what God calls sin and abomination. What God calls abominations in the written Torah. Please turn away from it. And when you do, start living by Torah. And I can promise you this much. May take some time because God's going to test you, see if you're serious or not. You just can't say, oh, Jesus, forgive me. And he's just going to be right there at your beck and call. He's not even there at my beck and call right now. I have to now, I'm extremely fortunate. I'm grateful for the miracles that God has done in my life. But it's about asking for forgiveness from living Torah and living by written Torah. And I can promise you a blessed life. Not a perfect one, just blessed. And there's just a lot going through my head right now. And there is one thing I don't want to say, but I will have you, I was wondering why that Peter, Paul, Timothy could do healing and these people would be instantly healed, and why it wasn't happening in church. And I have come to the conclusion it is because the Apostle Paul, Timothy, and Peter, these guys could do miracles in the New Testament. They were living by the written Torah. And they was every day learning how to practice written Torah even more in their life. And Yeshua in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John gave the deeper meaning of Torah. That's absolute. So it's like, when God's been doing these miracles, it's like, doesn't have to, but I'll tell you what, here's what I'm learning. God is willing to glorify himself in those who sincerely glorify God by loving God the way that he wants to be loved, and that is by written Torah. By loving people the way that he wants you to love other people. That's explained in written Torah. And in return, I can promise you, you will love yourself. And then when you'll love even God more, and then you'll love even people more, and then you'll love yourself more. It's like a continuous circle, a continuous, wonderful circle. And this is what I want to see for America. I'm not going to sit here and get into politics and all that kind of stuff. I want you, what I am encouraging is getting into Ren Torah, learning from it, doing it, living it, breathing it. Whenever you talk, letting it come forth out of your mouth. Worshiping God isn't just going to a synagogue or to a church and, oh, Jesus, thank you, and I praise you and give you glory. That's not the only kind of worship there is. There's living it out, the worship that we do. This doesn't fall on the Sabbath or a Sunday. It falls on every day in the week. And the important thing is, are you glorifying God through your actions, through your speech, through the food that you eat? Are you glorifying God? Are you worshiping God by the way that you love him as he is subscribed down through the hands of Moses in the written Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible? If you're not, may I encourage you to do so. To seek out God's real truth that he wants for you. I would so encourage that. And no matter what my opinions are on the other videos or what people's opinion is of me, I have learned that objectifying anyone for any reason, no matter the reason, is a sin. It's an absolute sin. One which I am doing everything I can to do, make sure I don't commit. Like I said, I make these videos so that you can understand how blessed my life is and how that you too can have that wonderful blessing. Well, I don't know more what to say on this subject. I really don't. Just give your life over to Yeshua, Christ, or as I know him, the living Torah, and live by written Torah. And you too can sincerely have a very blessed life, one like you've never known before. I love you all. God bless.